He liked to shock people. He was interested in power games.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're going over everything we know about the Long Island serial killer.
Still, she says she saw nothing alarming about the Rex Heuermann she saw daily.
While it's unclear exactly how long this serial killer has been active, the investigation essentially started on May 1st, 2010, when 24-year-old Shannon Gilbert called 911.
There's somebody after me. Where are you? There's somebody after me.
A sex worker with acting aspirations, Gilbert had just finished seeing a client when she called her driver, Michael Pack, who escorted her to another client's home in Oak Beach. Hours later, the client, Joseph Brewer, asked Pack to remove Gilbert from the house. Gilbert appeared troubled, saying, quote, "You guys are trying to kill me." Hiding behind Brewer's sofa, she made a 23-minute 911 call, again saying, quote, "They are trying to kill me."
These people are plotting to kill me.
Gilbert fled to the houses of two neighbors, Gus Coletti and Barbara Brennan, both of whom called the police. By the time the authorities arrived, Gilbert had vanished near Long Island's South Shore.
Hello? Hello?
Months passed without any developments in Gilbert's disappearance until December 11th, 2010. Searching for Gilbert since that summer, Officer John Malia and his German Shepherd Blue unearthed human remains in a burlap bag near Ocean Parkway, Long Island.
But it wasn't Shannon.
This wasn't Gilbert, but Melissa Bartholomew, who was last seen at her Bronx apartment on July 12, 2009. Her sister Amanda subsequently received numerous vulgar calls from Melissa's phone. The man on the other line claimed Melissa was dead.
Police believe that the killer may have made several phone calls to the sister of one of the victims from busy places around New York City.
As the authorities continued to investigate the area where Melissa was uncovered, they found 3 other bodies within roughly 500 feet of one another. Maureen Brainerd Barnes was last heard from on July 9, 2007. Megan Waterman disappeared on June 6, 2010, and Amber Lynn Costello had been missing since September 2, 2010.
Schaller says that when Amber left this house, she walked down this street and he never saw her again.
Deemed the Gilgo Four, the victims were all sex workers in their 20s with similar physical appearances, some using Craigslist. The body count didn't end there. Between March and April 2011, 6 more victims were discovered, with their remains spread across Suffolk and Nassau counties. Only half have been identified, all 3 sex workers. Karen Vergata went missing in 1996. Valerie Mack was last seen by her family in 2000, and Jessica Taylor vanished in 2003. Among the unidentified victims were an Asian male, an African-American woman with a peach tattoo, and a little one. Although this investigation started with Shannon Gilbert, her body wouldn't be discovered on Gilgo Beach until December 13, 2011, over a year after her disappearance.
We believe at this time to belong to the missing Shannon Gilbert.
Although Gilbert shared much in common with the Gilgo Four, the authorities theorized she died from an accidental drowning. Mary Gilbert, Shannon's mother, believed otherwise, leading to an independent autopsy suggesting strangulation may have been involved. Nevertheless, the police weren't convinced that Gilbert was directly connected to the Long Island serial killer. Tragedy befell the Gilbert family again in 2016 when Mary was stabbed to death by one of her other daughters, Sarah.
Sarah Gilbert is charged with second-degree murder in her mother's death.
Living with schizophrenia, Sarah received a 25-year prison sentence in 2017, while actress Amy Ryan portrayed Mary in the 2020 Netflix film Lost Girls. Whether or not Shannon Gilbert was a victim of the Long Island serial killer, the other bodies might not have been found had it not been for her.
If we weren't always on the phone, they may not have ever searched at all.
Like Shannon Gilbert, several other bodies have been discovered that may or may not be affiliated with the Long Island serial killer. Tina Elizabeth Foglia could be the serial killer's oldest potential victim, having disappeared in 1982, with her body found near Robert Moses Causeway, which leads to Gilgo and Oak Beach. Andre Jamal Isaac, Natasha Hugo, Tanya Rush, Jamie Diane Seymour, Jacqueline Ashley Smith, and Patricia Viola are just some of the other possible victims. Investigators seemingly made a break in the case in 2014 when John Bitterolf was arrested for the murders of Rita Tangretti and Colleen McNamee. Both victims were sex workers found dead in Suffolk County during the early 90s. Strong DNA evidence led to Bitterolf's conviction in 2017.
Through this defendant's DNA, he is the killer.
Given Bitterolf's MO, some suspected he may be the Long Island serial killer.
At least one lawman is saying there's a chance.
There wasn't enough evidence to support this theory, however. Few other suspects caught the authorities' attention until 2022, when Rex Andrew Heuermann entered the picture.
Rex Heuermann is a mystery man.
Growing up in Massapequa Park, Long Island, Heuermann wasn't the most popular child.
He was a loner, not many friends.
Despite his difficult upbringing, he became a successful New York architect, founding RH Consultants and Associates in 1994. In 1996, he married Asa Ellerup. Together, they had a daughter named Victoria, while Heuermann became stepfather to Ellerup's son Christopher. Heuermann enjoyed hunting, and while some of his acquaintances found him to be a little off, nobody suspected he was capable of being a serial killer. This included Heuermann's former high school classmate Billy Baldwin.
Another classmate of Heuermann's, actor Billy Baldwin, took to social media when the news broke, tweeting, "It was mind-boggling."
Heuermann became the prime suspect after the police connected him to a Chevrolet Avalanche, the same type of vehicle likely driven by Amber Costello's killer.
He described one of them as looking like an ogre and having a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche.
Investigating further, the police found that Heuermann had possessed multiple burner phones, contacting 3 of the known victims.
And they knew that Maureen, Melissa, and Megan had all been in contact with burner numbers right before they disappeared.
It's also believed that he was the one who harassed Melissa Bartholomew's sister over the phone. In addition to the phone records and witness accounts, the case against Heuermann was strengthened by his internet history. Not only did Heuermann look up subjects like torture, he also conducted searches concerning the case, the victims, and their families.
Conducting searches on the task force and the Gilgo victims.
What's more, Heuermann seemingly created a Word document or blueprint in 2000, detailing how to get rid of a body without leaving behind DNA evidence. A smoking gun came in the form of Little Caesar's pizza crust, matching Heuermann's DNA to a hair found on the victim.
It was DNA collected from a pizza slice he tossed in a Manhattan trash can that came back as a match.
In July 2023, the 59-year-old Heuermann was arrested for the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Amber Costello, and Megan Waterman.
Plainclothes officers arrested him around the corner from his office.
Heuermann was also a suspect in Maureen Brainerd Barnes' death, although he wasn't charged with her murder until January 2024.
The district attorney announced that he was being formally indicted for the murder of a 4th victim.
Through various searches of Heuermann's home, the authorities seized more than 350 electronic devices and over 280 guns, some of which were unregistered. Along with the Gilgo 4, Heuermann was charged with 2 more murders in June 2024, Jessica Taylor and Sandra Castilla.
Allegedly linked by cutting-edge new DNA testing.
Before Heuermann entered the equation, the police suspected John Bitterolf might have murdered Castilla, whose body was found in 1993. Hair possibly belonging to Asa Ellerup was also taken from crime scenes. However, the authorities don't believe Ellerup aided Heuermann, as she was out of town with her children when 3 of the 4 murders occurred.
Although prosecutors have evidence that Asa was out of town when those murders occurred, they will have to explain how those hairs got on the victims.
Just as Heuermann has pleaded not guilty, Ellerup claims that her husband is, quote, not capable of the crimes he is accused of.
I will listen to all of the evidence and withhold judgment until the end of trial.
Following his arrest, though, Ellerup filed for divorce after more than 20 years together. Ellerup is currently living with skin and breast cancer, her health insurance being jeopardized in the wake of Heuermann's arrest.
Moore set up a GoFundMe page for Asa, which raised over $50,000.
Victoria Heuermann, who worked with her father, is now unemployed along with Christopher. Amid the most recent charges brought against Heuermann, Ellerup released a statement asking for privacy.
This is all still a whirlwind. Her and her children's lives have been completely turned upside down.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Heuermann is being held at Suffolk County's Riverhead Correctional Facility. While Heuermann has appeared in court, a trial date is not yet set. Currently, he faces 3 counts of first-degree murder and 6 counts of second-degree murder. Only time will tell if more charges are brought against Huerman, as several other victims could be potentially linked to the case. Even if Huerman is proven to be responsible, some questions may never be answered, including the identities of a few victims and whether there could be other bodies hidden away. For the first time in over a decade, though, this long drawn-out case might have reached its most crucial turning point.
16 years since I heard her voice, because 16 years ago, she was silenced.
Have you been following the Long Island serial killer case? Share your thoughts in the comments.
A serial killer whose chilling presence can still be felt in the ocean air.